Hey out there, this is your boy Dev of War Room Sports, and this is... And Chase has the giggles as usual. We'd like to welcome you guys to episode number 267 of the War Room. In this episode, we're joined by special guests, around the horn panelists, University of Maryland professor, Washington Post columnist Kevin Blackistone. And we talk with him about RG3 and his do or die season, Chip Kelly and these implications of racism, Ronda Rousey versus Floyd Mayweather and all that stuff that's been going around about, you know, who can beat who in a fight, and a whole lot more. So you guys make sure you sit back, relax. Episode number 267 of the War Room starts now.
Blog Talk Radio.
Serena though.
Welcome to the War Room. We got Dev, Kill, Jimmy, PJ, B. Austin, the Hot Block Commander. Give it to you how you want it in a 1 or 2 hour show to keep the brain running with the premise to talk sports on a national level. Bold with the topics, sort of like some rebels. When it's game time, they like the Fab Five during prime time. Sports conglomerates speak their minds a little bit. For sports medicine and sports veterans and greats. The 4th and 26th, so the war in Kuwait. It's the War Room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys diversified and educated.
Yes, we are. What up, sports fans? You are once again live in the War Room, brought to you by War Room Sports on that WRS Podcast Network. I'm Devin McMillan. I'm at the round table with my brothers, Jimmy the Blueprint Williams and B. Austin. There have been some high-profile fisticuffs this week during NFL training camps, and the preseason is underway, so we'll discuss it all. At the top of hour number 2, we'll be talking to Around the Horn's Kevin Blackistone about a few camp stories as well, so keep it locked right here. And to get in a live conversation, join us right now in that JW Philly Realty chat room at blogtalkradio.com/The War Room, or join us on Facebook or Twitter at War Room Sports. You can also call us directly in about 30 minutes when we open up the Digital Extreme Tech hotline. That number, as usual, is 323-410-0012. But before we get started, we just need to remind you guys to make the War Room Sports Podcast Network a part of your daily grind. When we're not on the air, visit warroomsports.com. Click the WRS Podcast Network tab or listen on the War Room Sports mobile app or on iTunes. You'll find some of the best shows the web has to offer, sports and non-sports. And you can listen to archive episodes of our show, The War Room, The Broad Street Line with Roy and Chris, The Tissue and the Tape Hip Hop Show with Phil and Savard, Sports Trap Radio with Brandon and Anthony, The Mad Scientist Sports Lab with Nick Ficarelli, and a whole lot more. You can also check the listings over at fatsradio.com. That's PHATZ. Pretty Hot and Tempting with a Z, radio.com for syndicated air times of all your favorite WRSPN sports shows, including The War Room, which airs over there a few times per week. What's going on, bros? Jimmy, I heard, at the intro, I heard you say a little bit about Serena. We'd be remiss if we didn't start out by getting everybody's opinion on the Serena Williams' latest New York Magazine cover shoot. Gentlemen, thoughts?
Yo, I love her. I love her. That's it. That's all I got is love you.
Yo, my only thoughts on that, is like
there's jizz everywhere.
Jizz everywhere.
Yo,
I feel you. I feel you.
Everywhere.
And there's jizz everywhere.
If you guys are on social media, then you have to know what we're talking about, unless you're living under a social media rock. Serena Williams had some new photos hit the internet this week. A lot of them are showing off her flexibility, if you want to say.
Yo,
and
God bless her.
They look damn good. I don't understand the people who criticize Serena Williams for her body. I think there may be something wrong with you guys. I think you might have to, reevaluate what you think a beautiful woman is. But man,
God, yo,
all I got to say.
Man, listen.
B. Austin,
I love my wife, yo. But, yo.
However,
oh man.
However,
or no?
Yo, I need a hall pass, man.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, man. So before we all get ourselves in trouble live on the air, let's talk about what happened this week. While all you good folks out there were on the grind, All right, and on the grind, as usual, it's brought to you guys by DirecTV. If you like a better TV experience than cable has to offer, including that NFL Sunday ticket, just go to our website, warroomsports.com, click on the DirecTV logo, order yourself a better TV experience at a discounted War Room Sports sign-up rate. If you call yourself a sports fan, then you got to have DirecTV. And I got a little secret for you guys, and I think, Jimmy's told you guys this before as well. If you've never had DirecTV before and you go sign up using the War Room Sports website, you guys can get the NFL Sunday ticket for free for this first season. I mean, next season you'd have to pay, but if not, if you don't want to do that, cancel it. But you can get a free season of NFL Sunday ticket, and DirecTV is worth it alone just because of their exclusive relationship with the NFL. So go out there and get that. warroomsports.com. All right, sad news in the world of sports. Hall of Fame NFL player, Hall of Fame broadcaster Frank Gifford passed away earlier this week at the ripe old age of 84. They passed of natural causes. Like I said, Frank Gifford is a New York Giants Hall of Famer, led the Giants to a league championship back in 1956. And then I think our generation pretty much grew up on Frank Gifford on Monday Night Football, which he was a part of
definitely
for a lot of years, until recent. So what are you guys' thoughts on the life and times, the football times, and the broadcasting times of one Mr. Frank Gifford?
Well, I want to say first off,
salute. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Austin.
Say salute Frank Gifford. I didn't get to see you rock, but I will definitely say your suit game was on point. Your wife was on point. Your shoe game was on point. And I enjoyed growing up listening to you broadcast.
Salute.
Yo, I just want to say, obviously I didn't get a chance to see him play. But NFL Films does a great job of like capturing the history of the game. So you get to see things from NFL Films. But before I say anything about Frank Gifford, I just want to say rest in peace to Sean Price, because that affected me more than Frank Gifford, just to be honest with you. But with that being said, though, Frank Gifford, in terms of his broadcasting, that's pretty much what I know him for, like Dev said. And our generation, he is Monday night. You know what I mean? The next generation will have to look back and realize that they had John Gruden on their Monday Night Football, which is probably a reflection of everything, everything that goes on in the world today. So when you think about it, he's perfect for this generation. But
yeah, I mean, Bruce Jenner is a woman, and John Gruden is on Monday Night Football.
I don't know what that got to do with the price of rice in China, but shout to Frank Gifford. I mean, he went and got him a young tenderoni, Kathy Lee Gifford. Well, she was a tenderoni, based upon him being his age or whatever, but and he also left a $20 million estate. So, his family about to eat. So shout out to Frank Gifford. I don't know anything scandalous about you, so I can't slander you, but you did a great job on Monday Night Football.
Well, actually, they had a little scandal. He and Kathy Lee, he had supposedly cheated on her, but I don't know why I brought that up. I mean, trying to get his man salute. That's not really
scandal. That ain't nothing. He's just being a man. I mean, he probably ain't mean to do it. Probably was a mistake. He ain't mean to do that.
He was Frank Gifford. When back in his playing days, like they said, the ladies just love Frank Gifford. So,
listen,
it was an accident.
Not so great memory. Quick mistake, man. Yeah, one not so great memory, I guess, for Giants fans and Frank Gifford fans. That comes to mind for me, being a Philadelphia Eagles fan, is one of those photos that will forever live in infamy of what's the Eagles' great linebacker name that passed away a few years ago?
Chuck Bednarik.
Yeah, but Bednarik standing over Frank Gifford after he knocked him cold on the field and concussed him very, very badly. I think that led to Frank Gifford retiring, and then he came back out of retirement to play a few more years. But shout out to Frank Gifford, man. 84 years.
And based upon the story Dev just told, I want to definitely give a shout out to Kathy Lee Gifford just for standing by her man and doing what you should do. You did the right thing. Shout out to you, man. Yo, and another thing, real quick. I mean, my man died at 84, right? That's like ancient for an NFL player. These cats now be like tapping out at like 45, 51,
At
like
40, 42.
Yeah, like yo, like I don't know what's going on. The game is played a lot faster now and a lot more violent. But you always hear about how violent it was back in the day. But these dudes live into their 80s, man. Like dudes,
these barely had a helmet.
Yo, these dudes. Well, you know what though? Not having a helmet means that you didn't try to like use your. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, bring back leather helmets, man. Hashtag bring back leather helmets. Because I guarantee you some of these
straighten the game up quick.
Exactly. So they live into their 80s, man. You got dudes these days dying at like 46 of natural causes.
Yeah. All right, well, shout out to Frank Gifford, man. Y'all, man, Aldon Smith is back in the negative
Miller
news.
gang.
He's been released by the 49ers after his latest brush with the law, which included last week. It included a hit and run, driving under the influence, and vandalism charges. So it was basically his third arrest on suspicion of drunken driving since entering the league in 2011. That's only 4 years ago, less than 4 years ago, really, if you're talking season wise. So, you know, he was booked and released last Friday. The 49ers ended up letting him go. I mean, he's a hell of a player, but what do you guys think about this guy? He's one of those like can't get right dudes. Yes, sir. We got our first nominee. And before my brothers talk a little bit about Aldon Smith, we got to give you guys the new twist on the JoJo nominee, the JoJo of the week. We're actually going to have a JoJo of the week award, not just nominees. We're actually going to pick one as the winner, but that's not going to happen on the podcast. That's going to happen on our YouTube channel. So the day after, or a day or two after the live podcast, look on our YouTube page, War Room Sports, and look for the JoJo of the Week video, and we'll be awarding one of the nominees that we nominated during the live podcast. So that's the new twist on that. So we got our first nominee, Aldon Smith. What do you guys think about this guy, man?
Man, listen, man.
Jimmy, go first.
Smith Miller Gang is definitely in the building. Shout out to B. Austin for the creation of the Smith Miller Gang. Because Von Miller can't get right, Aldon Smith can't get right, and you know they out there, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and the whole world. I just don't understand. You know, it's one thing to make a mistake. We all make mistakes. I mean, we all make several mistakes. But when you're put in the position that he was put in, and he can play ball. He's a baller. And you get so many opportunities. It's like at some point, like his chill button is broke. I just don't know, like, if there's any hope for him at this point. Because if you didn't get it now, like, when would you wake up and realize that? Listen, you're blessed. You're playing a child's game. And you're getting paid to do so. Millions of money. I don't know. Like he hasn't woke up yet. When will he wake up? Like when he's dead? Because he's doing stuff he's putting himself in danger. He's putting other people in danger. It's not like, you know, I don't get it, man. Like my man needs some help.
Well, Aldon Smith, you're an a-hole.
Okay, that'll do it.
Oh, my man needs some help. Like he must have my man saying house party. He got a mental block or something. My man got a mental block or something, like, yo. But
Jim, I think I'm pretty sure, you know, with his talent level, he'll get another chance. I mean, you got like six backup linebackers breaking quarterbacks' jaws and getting picked up the next day. We'll talk about that later. But
six teams is already 60 are already in Aldon Smith.
Yeah, but my thing is, I don't think he'll ever get it. Like maybe he will. I'm hoping he does, but. He may go to another team, and the behavior is what behavior is. Like you've been given multiple opportunities already, and it's like at some point your talent's not going to be worth it. Like
Jimmy, this is the NFL,
dog. But that's exactly
as long as you're not bodying cats like Aaron Hernandez and they can't employ you.
I disagree with that, B. Austin.
They're going to do a good job.
Ed Johnson, those were still balling, but it got to the point where their distraction and their headache and whatever they do is not worth the talent that they bring to the field. And it's going to get to that.
Man Jones,
I think Jimmy's right
would be
when
doing
he says
200 years.
But I think Jimmy's right when he says he may never get it, because actually teams picking you up right away after you keep messing up and somebody finally releases you, that's going to make you not want to change anything because you think you're invincible.
Like, look, I'm always
No, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with Jimmy's point.
But my thing is,
I just think he's going to always have a job.
No, if he continues this behavior, it's going to get to the point where it's not worth it because you're going to get blackballed. Yeah, he may not be there yet, but if he continues this behavior, he'll be sitting there with T.O. is still producing at a high level. Ocho Cinco or Chad Johnson, whatever you want to call him. And there's a number of guys that were producing, but the league was just like, yo, you're not worth it. He's putting himself in that position if he continues this behavior.
No doubt. Did you guys hear about the foolery going on between Eagles fans and Cowboys fans? And actually Greg Hardy jumped into the mix with the Cowboys fans. So both teams' fans were planning on flying, the planes that pull billboards or pull messages across the sky. They were planning on flying planes like that over each team's practice facility during training camp. Dallas, the fans in Dallas were actually successful, and they flew a banner over the Eagles practice with the help of Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy actually donated $300 to the page that was raising money to do this. And I think they actually did it because they heard that the Eagles fans were going to do the same. Now, last week when the Eagles banner was supposed to fly, there was a crash out at the Compton airport, which killed the pilot of this plane, which was also a banner plane. Rumors spread all over the internet that this was the actual plane that the Eagles fans had hired. And, we found out later that wasn't true. But can you imagine if that was actually the case, how big of a fail that would have been for the Eagles fans?
I'm not laughing, man. God bless the dead.
Yeah,
because it wasn't actually the pilot for the Eagles plane, but they couldn't take off because this was the same airport that they were using, so nobody could take off. So it never materialized for the Eagles fans. So we lost again. But
this is one of those stories, right? If I was a younger guy as a fan of a team, I'll be all into this. I would think it was the greatest thing ever. But as a grown man who pays FICA and real estate taxes, I look at this and say, yo, what a waste.
And Navient, Sally Mae.
Yo, shout out to Sally Mae for being my pimp for the next 20 years. But with that being said, man,
Sally Mae will mature your ass quick.
Yo, Sally Mae will definitely be mature. Yo, Sally Mae gets you we're all sports fans, but we used to be so pissed when our team would lose the next day. But Sally Mae make it so you don't even care that much. Anyway,
you got important things, man.
Yo, Sally. Anyway, with that being said, man, this is one of those stories where that's the first thing that comes to mind, man. But that would have been the biggest failure ever. And, that's one of them things where all these people who don't know how to look at sports and be objective you threw snowballs at Santa Claus, you killed the pilot. They would have threw that in there too. I guarantee that. As a matter of fact, they still might throw it in there.
But I would have had to, if the Eagles player would have crashed and died, I would have had to give somebody a JoJo award on that. Maybe the dead man, maybe the Eagles fans. Somebody would have got a JoJo nomination for, actually crashing and burning literally on an attempt to talk trash to another team. But God bless the dead. Rest in peace to the guy who was actually trying to pull a banner for a beer company. So blame the beer company for his death. But this is the tomfoolery that still goes on with grown men and women who root for football teams. Have at it, people. Have fun. We're not knocking. We just, we over that part of the game. This story is kind of crazy, man. This next story. Jenson Button, who is B. Austin. This should be right up your alley a little bit though, because he's a driver, right? He's like a F5 driver.
Formula One driver.
Formula One.
Formula One driver.
F1 driver. Yeah, well, he and his wife were staying in this vacation villa, and they were robbed, basically. The burglary took place, and these people were unharmed, but, they got a lot of items of jewelry stolen. Jessica Button's engagement ring was stolen. But this was some high-level movie-type robbery because I heard that they got gassed. They said gas Yeah, like they put gas in their air conditioning unit before they broke in. So I guess this is the easiest way to break in and not have to break in, with the guns blazing or whatever. You just gas them, knock them out, go in there while they sleep, take everything. But what kind of high level stuff is this for them to have to go through this?
Shout out to the Pink Panthers robbery crew.
Yo, what you know about the Pink Panthers, B? Anyway, before B. Austin gets us indicted, I just want to say that this was definitely crazy. When I saw this, I was like, yo, this is some particular set of skills type thing. It was sound like something out of a Born Identity movie. Like, that's crazy. It's definitely crazy. But I mean, they must have known that you had something for them to because they spent bread to make bread. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people get robbed. They don't have time for all that. They just got to run up on you because it's just cheaper that way. But to take time, they put time into this.
Did you guys hear that some British family says that they were robbed the very same way in the same villa where Button and his wife were robbed? So this must be like the expensive villa. And I'm starting to think this could be a little bit of an inside job. If the hotel people are telling people that you got big ticket people staying in this villa, and then all of a sudden more than one of them are getting robbed like this in the same exact way, getting gassed. I don't know. This might be a little bit of an inside job. So,
I would have thought it was an inside job, even if it hadn't have happened before. To be able to have access to the air conditioning unit.
Air conditioning unit.
Yeah, you had to know the schematics and all of that jazz. But the funny thing is, they did this for
some Ocean's
a little
11
less than $500,000.
Yeah, man, this is definitely some Neil Caffrey type stuff, man. And like when you lay out everything that happened, man, it's definitely
that's big ticket enough though, B, because I know I don't travel with $500,000, so ain't nobody running up into the Holiday Inn busting my ass like that.
375 of it was her wedding ring.
That's what we taking to the Olympics this year. We taking that to the Olympics this year, but that's another story.
It's probably the item they were after in the first place. That's probably something else they knew. Like, yo, she wears a rock. That's crazy. So we're just gonna knock them out. We're just gonna go in there and just slide it off her finger. Take whatever else they have in the room. Yeah, easy. Ocean's 11. All right. So those are while you were on the grind stories from this week. It gets crazier and crazier every week. But Jimmy, let everybody know who's having a birthday.
You already know birthdays are brought to you by Digital Extreme Technologies. Do you or your business need a custom website? Well, for dynamic, professional, and most of all, affordable website solutions, you need Digital Extreme Technologies. No need to break the bank for an effective online presence. You get top quality, results-driven websites at incredibly affordable prices. And guess what? If you ain't got it all, financing options are available. Visit digitalextremetech.com or call 267-205-4203. And if you want a discount, say you heard it here in the War Room. Tell them War Room Sports sent you and you get the hookup. Let's get some birthday shout-outs, gentlemen. Yay! First birthday is one Elvis Gerbach. He was a part of
Elvis was a hero the most.
49ers Chiefs Elvis type thing. Yeah, different Elvis. The 49ers Chiefs gang that was going on back in the day. He was a member of that, but shout out to him.
He followed in the footsteps of the great Joe Montana.
Yeah, you already know. He wasn't that bad. Funny thing is, he wasn't that bad. He wasn't Joe, but that was the problem. The problem is sometimes, like, if you come behind a legend and you're still good, but you came behind a legend, it's unfortunate. You know what I mean? Some fortunate, some less fortunate. Some get it, some get acquitted. Anyway, William Thomas turns 47. We also have Chris Dishman.
B, you remember William Thomas? He was the little linebacker from the Eagles back in the day that wore them big ass shoulder pads to make himself look bigger.
Yo, William Thomas was 5'1", playing linebacker
with the biggest shoulder pads you ever seen in your life.
Also, another birthday turning 50 is Chris Dishman. He's the cornerback.
My man.
Yeah, B. Austin, like anybody who plays in the secondary.
Yeah, B. Austin used to wave the flag for Chris Dishman back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in our
Bobby
Clark.
Bobby Clark turned 66.
Flyers Roy, shout out to him.
Shout out to Bobby Clark. I just see him in South Philly all the time with some young Johns, but that's either here nor there. Rest in peace to Ben Hogan. who passed away July 25th of 97, but was born on August 13th of 1912. Definitely a sports legend in Ben Hogan. We'd like to give a nice big warm salute to all these folks on their birthday from the War Room.
My birthday, yay!
No doubt, no doubt. And before we get to some football topics, some big news that happened in NFL this week, you guys can check out our website. That's warroomsports.com. While you're there, be sure to sign up for the War Report. That's our company newsletter. Click on the Contact Us tab to send us a message about our company, our show, to inquire about sponsorship and advertising opportunities, or for joining our network in any manner possible. For general inquiries, email us at info@warroomsports.com. While you're browsing, click on the memorabilia tab and buy War Room Sports merchandise. Click the blog tab to read our latest articles in the All's Fair in Sports and More blog. Then click the respective icons and tabs to like our Facebook page, to follow us on Twitter, to subscribe to our iTunes podcast, to watch our webcast at War Room Sports TV, to listen to our WRS podcast network, and to download our free War Room Sports mobile app to get everything I just mentioned on the go. Join the JW Philly Realty chat room right now during the show at blogtalkradio.com/the War Room. To enter the chat room, just sign up for a free profile on Blog Talk Radio. If you don't want to create an account, you don't have to. You can sign in through your Facebook and Twitter accounts. And while you're at it, click follow. That'll get you updates and reminders about the show. We'll be taking questions and reading posts from Facebook, Twitter, and the chat room during the show. So make sure you jump in there now, because in about 30 minutes, we'll have Kevin Blackistone on from Around the Horn and Washington Post. But to call in and speak with us directly, you can dial the Digital Extreme Technologies hotline. That number is 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. But if you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to holler at the fellas. All right. Now y'all know that no one is half the battle.
Hi, Peter King with the MMQB here, and you're listening to the War Room at the War Room Sports Podcast Network.
No doubt. Thank you, Peter.
No,
Jimmy.
you already know. Shout out to Peter. Yes, let's talk about some NFL rap before we move forward. We definitely have a call line. Hold on 1 second so we can jump into this NFL topics. For the best in your favorite team's merchandise and apparel, shop Fanatics. Shopping Fanatics is easy. Go to our website, which is warroomsports.com. Click on that Fanatics logo on our main page, or just go to our sponsors page. Take a look at all of our sponsors, but you can click Fanatics and get the latest in all kinds of merchandise from the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, if that's what you're into. Definitely get some NFL jerseys, some J.J. Watt jerseys, because I see J.J. Watt like the most popular player in the world at this point. But anyway, Fanatics is a great sponsor, but also all of our sponsors are right at warroomsports.com. Click on that sponsors page and take a look. Let's talk football, gentlemen.
Let's do this.
We got the biggest sports story going on this upcoming week, and shout out to Tobias. We'll get to you in 1 second, but let's put the story on the table so Tobias, you can give us your opinion of this as well. Geno Smith is out 6 to 10 weeks with a broken jaw from what's being described as a sucker punch from the linebacker, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, but the boy. Everybody knows who I'm talking about.
The boy, IK.
Yeah, the boy, IK, whatever his name is. IK, fill in the blank. He allegedly sucker punched Geno Smith. There's so many things we can go to and talk about the story, so we can discuss it, in detail, gentlemen. But shout out to Rex Ryan for trolling the Jets. I think that's the funniest and greatest thing ever, because there's no way you can tell me that he's not trolling. Who picked him up with the Buffalo Bills. But gentlemen, what is your opinion on this whole story? What's the first thing you thought of?
Yeah, I think this is a crazy story, and it's my thoughts on it, it goes past, the stuff on the surface, the fact that they had a little fight. And for people out there who don't know the story, the fight supposedly, or the punch was supposedly over a $600 plane ticket that IK had purchased for Geno Smith, because IK wanted Geno Smith to come speak at his linebackers camp in Pflugerville, Texas, back on July 11th. Geno never showed up. That was the same week that one of Geno Smith's friends or family members, somebody passed away in a motorcycle accident. So, he may have been grieving at that time. So IK I guess since camp has started, has been asking Geno Smith for this $600 that by all reports, they say Geno was going to pay him, but something between them sparked and this little altercation happened. The thing that I noticed the most, Jimmy, because you think about it, somebody punches the quarterback, breaks his jaw, he's out for 6 to 10 weeks. First of all, from a football standpoint, this could have huge implications for Geno Smith because he was under the microscope. It might have been like a do or die season, a make or break season for Geno Smith, if you will. Anyway, and even though he, by all accounts, was going to be the starting quarterback for the New York Jets this year, the Todd Bowles, the new head coach, makes it a point to always mention the fact that because he's going in with the job doesn't mean he's going to keep the job. So it sounds like the leash wasn't that long for Geno anyway. You miss 6 to 10 weeks, Ryan Fitzpatrick steps in and plays pretty well, or you come back and in practice, you just aren't looking like it's worth making the change. Geno's starting career, at least in New York, could be over. So anyway, back to the story at hand. Jimmy, what quarterback do you know that can get punched, get his jaw broken in a locker room like that, and the whole team doesn't stomp this dude out? This 6th round backup linebacker who doesn't even have a sure shot on the team. How does that happen?
I'm so glad you brought that up because that's the first thing. And like, I've been trying to stay off of social media lately because I don't want to, try to just take the opinions of others. But that's the first thing that I thought of. I was like, if you're supposed to get stomped out, we're supposed to hear a story about somebody else getting arrested for assault. Like, I dare you to go try to touch Tom Brady like that. I dare you. Like, that's ridiculous. You shouldn't be able to just walk up and suck.
If you shake Tom Brady's hand too hard, they're going to whoop your tail. And it's going to be sanctioned by the hoodie. Like, the hoodie would be cool with that. So, listen, I see exactly where you're going. I totally agree. Some of the backdrop to the story is that, the linebacker dude approached Geno, and Geno was like, kind of blew him off, and they got to arguing, and then Geno put his finger in IK's face.
Right.
That's what sparked off the.
And the thing is that account is coming from eyewitnesses. That's another thing. There's nobody out there who's taking the side of their quarterback, of their leader. Like, people are saying anonymously that Geno Smith deserved to get punched like that. Even the team leader, the real team leader, Darrelle Revis, he didn't say anything that egregious, but he did. He repeated Todd Bowles' comments that it takes 2 to tango. So nobody's just flat out saying like IK was wrong. He punched our quarterback. He messed up our quarterback. Like, a lot of people are saying that Geno Smith deserved what he got because of the way he was treating this dude, over the $6, which is kind of crazy anyway, because when you break down the whole situation with the money, like, you bought the dude a plane ticket. Like, he didn't borrow $600 for you, and I'm pretty sure he didn't ask you to buy that plane ticket. So it might be a little petty on that front.
From what I read, though, it does sound like the boy asked betting. Like, well, that didn't bet him, but the boy wasn't trying to pay him. The boy, he sounded to me like he was playing. I'm like, if he asks you for $600, you say I get it to you, then you get him the $600. If not, don't tell him you're gonna give him the $600.
Yeah, that's one thing. I'm not like, because if that's the case, Jim, you can just say, "Yo, I didn't ask you to buy that ticket, dog." Exactly. Keep it.
Don't
say I'm gonna get it to you and then start planning.
Yeah, you sound like he was trying to sun him, and he got his jaw broke. And the thing about it is, no one's really rushing to Geno's defense. No one stomped the ball out. This is like a bad reflection. And I know that Chris Carter said that it was it shows his lack of leadership, and people came at Chris Carter for that. But when I thought about it, he has a point. He has a very valid point. Like,
it's true. That's the truth.
That's definitely a case, but I think it goes past that, fellas. I think it goes past just leadership. I think it goes to the fact that Geno Smith is just not that good. If you have a good quarterback who's an asshole and not a good leader, they're still not letting this go down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he's and losing him to some freak accident like a brawl in the locker room is going to hurt the team too much, whether you guys like him or not, whether he's a good leader or not. Geno Smith, frankly, flat out, is just not that good. I don't think this would happen to any quarterback that's worth their salt. The team cares about these guys too much. Like, you're not even supposed to touch these guys, let alone
what you're saying is Jay Cutler got riders. Guys is gonna ride for Jay Cutler.
Not at this point.
They're gonna ride for Jay Cutler more than they ride for this dude.
Yeah, I agree with that. But here's my thing. Another thing about this though, Dev. I don't want to take responsibility off of my man IK, because like, even if he's not a light guy, right? How do you think this is going to work out? Like, what's going through your head when you say, you know what, I'm gonna punch this dude? How do you think that's going to work out? Like, what do you think is going to happen on the back end of that? He's going to fall out and everybody's going to stand up and put you on their shoulders like Luca Plakia? Like, what do you think is going to happen? Like,
but Jim, you know you know what we're dealing with here. You know the culture of these guys. You know a lot of these guys are just, just aggressive in nature. And
it's about man pride. Man pride is
that kind of stuff gets the best of them. They don't really think. Because think about this. Like, he was a 6th pick. He didn't even make the roster last season, I don't think. Yeah, he wasn't assured a spot this season. Like, that one punch, had it been on a better quarterback, probably, it would have put his career in jeopardy. He's already in jeopardy of being charged legally. But, I mean, it being Geno Smith, if it wasn't for Rex Ryan, the former coach of the Jets, trolling and picking this guy up the next day, do you think he would have gotten another shot in the NFL? Like, he could be done because he might not make the Buffalo Bills. Rex could be just using him for his trolling.
My man said, "Yo, went for it." He said YOLO and just went for it. He said YOLO and just went for it. He was like, "Yo, because I don't see what were you about. Like, what through your head and you decided I'm gonna do this. Like, what were your long-term plans? How was it supposed to play out? Let's say you don't break his jaw, you knock him down. Then what? Y'all rumble and you think he's gonna go back to practice? Like, that's gonna be it?"
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely wasn't thinking. So let's take it to the football field and the Jets. Do you guys think this does anything to the Jets' chances of any success this year? Or do you think Ryan Patrick stepping in, like, do you think the offense, whatever they were going to have at offense, do you think they'll miss a beat without Geno Smith? Because Geno's the type of guy where I don't think he's that good. But he had, once in a while he shows flashes, and then once he shows the flashes, he turns into a pumpkin immediately and then shows you why just those flashes. So, do you guys think they'll take a step back? Because I heard he wasn't looking that good in camp anyway.
Yeah, well, actually, I heard
the opposite. I heard he was looking okay. I heard he didn't throw any interceptions in camp until this particular day before he got beat up.
Precursor things to come. No, I think when I look at the Jets organization and how they're trying to build, that they got rid of Rex because his time was just done. But they looked at what Rex did with Mar Sanchez, and they said, let's emulate that. They built their defensive line. Their defensive line is monstrosities. And then they went ahead and they filled out their secondary, and their linebacking core is pretty good. They're banking on defense, banking on running the ball, maybe throwing up to Marshall, in end zone situations, but they're not counting on scoring 30 points a game. So I think actually this could bode well because, when Fitzpatrick comes in, he's good for a season and a half. So I think, this will be his season and a half.
In Houston.
Hold up, though. Dev said that Geno was looking good in camp. Like, we don't believe you. You need more. That's one. And two, shout out to Tishy when it take who's in the chat, said that he couldn't fight the boy. They said you can't fight the dude with a name Rebel Soldier. So
think about it. Think about it,
Sierra Leonean.
This was the best he's looked in a while in camp. He didn't have any picks until this day. Do you think the interceptions came as a result of dude coming up to him on the field like, "Yo, Geno, where my money at, man?" Like, you think he was nervous, like during practice that day?
Where my money, yo? Where my money?
Because this dude really didn't have much to lose. football wise, but I guess family wise, he had everything to lose because this little bit of, 6-round bounce around to camp money is probably what his people is dependent on. But this is crazy.
He's sending that back to Charles Taylor and them in Liberia. So they definitely
he probably ran up on him with the Jimmy Conway joint, like money today, you hear me?
I was thinking. Okay, Jim.
No. I was just going to say that, like, the fact that Rex Ryan is willing to go this far in trolling is what makes this story the greatest story of the week to me. Because when I saw that story and it said the Bills, I just died laughing.
Yeah, he didn't make it all the way through waivers. He got claimed by the Buffalo Bills and Rex Ryan. It's crazy. This story, of course, like the biggest story in the week before this was the whole Cam Newton thing. Jim, I look at him and I was thinking like this week because we said the stuff we said about Geno and we had the same thoughts, even though we really haven't talked about it together. We had those thoughts of, how much do they actually respect this guy or how much do they not respect this guy for them to even let someone step up into the quarterback's face in the locker room, because they were face to face before this happened. Like, who even lets that happen in the Green Bay Packers locker room? Who lets that happen in the Indianapolis Colts locker room? I was thinking along the same lines with Cam, but in his fight, the situation was a little different because Cam actually threw the interception. The dude was he scored and was celebrating too much, and Cam ran him down and basically just started a brawl with him. So there was not much of an opportunity there for them to defend Cam, or because he actually started it. So they broke it up, pulled him off of him, and that was that. At first, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, is there a lack of respect there also because they're letting their quarterback brawl? But then I actually saw what happened in that situation. There's really nothing you can do about that if your QB is acting like a hothead. Now, what do y'all think about that situation in comparison to the Jets situation?
I think someone from the Jets probably was trying to, they probably instigated it. Like, you ain't going to say nothing to him. We took your money. I mean, I know that's what I'd have did, but I'm just saying that's probably what happened.
What do you think? They was trying to get Geno punched?
Pretty much.
Yeah, they was trying to see the dude from Harvard start. But in Cam's situation, I in a way, I'm happy that he's that mad at being a bum and he wants to get better. Yeah. Like, he doesn't want to get picked. He wants to step up. He doesn't want you throwing it in his face that he's not accurate. He wants to see, improvement. I'm not mad at that. That's just the.
But is it that smart?
Did it come out that way?
That far, B?
No, not at all. Not at all. I was going to get to that. It was an idiot's response, but I'm not mad at the competitive juices, the nature of that, and because Tom Brady will stand on the sideline and darn near pull out a horsewhip on players at times when he gets angry. So I'm not mad that Cam shows a little emotion and gets a little angry. He needs to control it. He needs to show it a little bit better. But I think it's a different case than with Geno. Geno, they just don't like the ball. Get out of here. We need to harvest.
You said what? Cam was mad at that.
Cam was gambling though. You run down there, you do that. Y'all fall the wrong way, wrestling on the ground. You break your arm, you out for the season, and it's your fault because you mad that he celebrated a pick. Shouldn't have threw the pick. I mean, come on now. But, I can understand having emotions because we do like to see our athletes have emotion. The fans like to see emotion because they want to think that these guys care that much. So, shout out to another thing that the Michael Jordan era brought in. Like, the fans have to think you care. It's not enough to go out and score 30. You score 30, but you lose and you go about your life after the game instead of sulking in the locker room, then you're a jackass. But
pretty much. And if you sulk too much, then you're a crybaby.
Yeah, he has to be a little smarter in that situation. Let's get to the phone lines real quick. Let's get Tobias's thought real quick, and then we can move on before our guest comes on. Tobias, roll damn tide, man. What do we think of all this crazy stuff going on with quarterbacks fighting all week, man?
Roll Tide. Well, I'm doing better than Amir Johnson, I tell you that. We hit child support court in a couple of weeks. But anyway, y'all ain't heard that story. Y'all read that one. But with Geno Smith, that shows that nobody likes him. That shows how disliked he is. And that's just to be honest with you. Because one, if that dude did hit him, how come he wasn't dealt with by some of the big boys in the locker room? Because let's be honest, the guy is awful. Let's be honest, the guy is awful. We can't call it what it is. He's awful. I can't even play the black quarterback.
He's shamefully bad.
Hey, we can't even take up for the black quarterback on this one. He's that bad. But it's just the fact that we can't use the black quarterback card. But it's just that how disliked he is as a leader. He's not a leader because one, he should just pay the man the money back anyway. $600, you got it. You know, he should just pay the man the money back and all that stuff. That shows. But
Gino might be taking a check with his.
Yeah. Hey, and get this. Yeah. And then like with Cam Newton, Cam just ran down that field at him, and that quarterback just realized 6'5", 250 run at you, and a 4.5 speed coming at you. But it's like with Gino, it just shows how disliked he is, and that just shows how big leadership comes into play. Because Tom Brady, they wouldn't touch Tom Brady like that. Hell, the other defense can't even tackle Tom Brady without being suspended anyway. So that's the thing.
Like, we keep bringing up names like that. Like, we don't have to go there. Like, nobody's jumping in Carson Palmer's face in the Cardinals locker room. You know, let alone punching him. Like, it got to the point where he punched him. You punch a guy like that, and the offensive line is going to stomp you until you die, and then they're all going to be, brought up on criminal charges.
You know what it reminds me of? What? You remember what happened to Willie Beeman on any given Sunday? Thought he was too big for the room, and they stopped blocking. That's what it reminds me of.
Willie Beeman. He's Willie Beeman. Willie Beeman better than him.
Hey, can I bring something up real quick? Boy, I've been keeping up with this whole Team USA thing. I've never seen 34 players try out for an Olympic spot or guys playing hurt. Brazil. Hey, remember Kevin Durant talking about? Hey, remember Kevin Durant talking about? Oh, I needed rest last time. Man, this man's foot ain't healed all the way, but he out there trying to get to Brazil.
Man, you already know what that's about, man. Hey, look, we ain't gonna talk on trash about that because we trying to get there too.
Yeah, I told you last week what I will stoop to get a free trip to Brazil for the Olympics. I went to London, but that's not the same. This is different. Like,
Then you heard about your boy. I'm like, Kevin Durant, your foot's still broken. Paul George booked his leg is like taping, like duct tape and bazooka bubble gum, and he's out there still trying.
You don't smash with your foot.
The thought of Brazil got Derrick Rose healed and jumping higher.
Hey man,
you don't bust no draws with your foot.
Hey, but man, you know what? I tell you this, I'm real curious to see how my boy Jameis Winston gonna do this weekend, man. See how that works. See how he looks. I know it's preseason.
There's jizz everywhere.
But it's preseason. But I still want to see how he looks and everything. And because I read a lot of stuff about his leadership, he's getting better, everything like that. But I still want to see what happens when the Bullets are playing.
Tobias, now that you brought him up, we were actually about to talk about him because one of the offensive linemen said that they said that your boy Jameis Winston is reminding him of a young Aaron Rodgers. This guy came into the league while Aaron Rodgers was in his second year as a starter, and he's saying that Jameis basically, a lot of stuff is that he does reminds him of Aaron Rodgers. Here's a quote from Evan Smith, the center who's snapping him the ball. He said, "I've only been around two other quarterbacks. I played with one who was really good. He reminds me of a very young version of him." He says Jameis hasn't taken a snap yet in this league. He conceded that point. But he said, when I first got to Green Bay, you could see the talent there. You could see Aaron was starting to take off as a superstar. You can tell Jameis has that potential. So, and he said, basically, he praised his brain, said you could see it in his brains, and he definitely has the arm talent. And this isn't the first time that I've heard people raving about how smart Jameis Winston was. Like by the decisions he made in college, I feel like you wouldn't know, but
yeah. So I mean, a lot of people said that his off the field weren't like they said that his football IQ was high, but his regular IQ is still, that's a whole nother story.
I just want to take the time to say shout out to Drea and Orlando Scandrick, man. I think that'll play into Jameis's performance.
Hey, I tell you what though, couple things. Hey, Jameis Winston become a superstar, Dre gonna dig that phone number. Hey, Jameis, you've been working out. Do that crap. But
but right now you're working with a beer belly. But
yeah, because Jameis is from Alabama, like me, of course. And, finally left the town. Maybe a little folksy still, a little naive. But this guy got accepted to Stanford and everything, and he really wanted to go to Texas because of the baseball program. But Mac Brown didn't pick up the phone and call him because he didn't think he was going to get him. And Mac Brown probably have a job right now if he picked up the phone and called Jameis. but the guys, but the leadership, the IQ, football IQ is there. It is all about putting it on the field and everything. I just want to see.
We'll see.
I believe this team go 6-10.
For me, I'm not privy to camp. I'm not privy to all of these practices where they're praising his brain. So I have to see this. I have to see this intelligence being applied on the field, and I would believe it. I think Jameis is good. I think he was a no-brainer as the first pick, even though they tried to act like the Hawaiian dude.
They tried to do that. They tried to do that dumb stuff.
Same thing they tried to at the last minute, acting like the Colts had a decision to make between RG3 and Luck. Like, come on, man. But Tobias, man, we got our guest coming on in a few minutes, man. So make sure you keep it locked. You. Thanks for your call. We appreciate it as always, man. Appreciate it.
Let's be honest.
Okay.
All right, that's what's up. That's what's up.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, right? Everybody's being compared to Aaron Rodgers, including your guy, Sam Bradford. I mean, how old is Sam Bradford in comparison to Aaron Rodgers? Because Bradford's been in the league a little while too. So
probably the same age.
Same age.
To say he looks like a young Aaron Rodgers is kind of funny, but he's being compared to Aaron.
But wait.
Well, no, because his lineman didn't actually say young Aaron Rodgers. They just said he's showing. Yeah, but they're saying he's showing Aaron Rod-like talent, which I mean, this one is not too far-fetched when you're talking about his talent. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. He's a #1 pick in the NFL draft. So we know the talent is there. That's kind of like Captain Obvious, but at the same time, these dudes probably have to stop using Aaron Rodgers with everything. But I guess that's the I think that's what you do when somebody's the best player in the league.
Yeah, the Bucs John wasn't that bad either because he did throw in there a couple times potential. He kept throwing the word potential in there, so that kind of covers you. That covers you.
To let you know that you weren't tripping. Yeah, exactly. But they're still using the cream of the crop though, so it's like kind of like slow down a little bit. But at the same time, when you talk about Sam Bradford, like I just mentioned, you know that the talent is there. It's all about whether or not his legs are going to hold up. And, every time his name comes up, it's the same conversation. We know that there's talent there. And they're talking about how well he's running Chip Kelly's offense. And, if he's healthy, then Chip Kelly's going to look like a genius with this trade, yada, yada, yada. But, it's always that but there. But Jason Peters and Lane Johnson, who are his bookends, his tackles, are the ones who made this observation, and it kind of sounded like Lane Johnson was taking a little shot at Nick Foles because he said he's just very accurate. I haven't seen that from a quarterback in a long time. I'm like, damn, he was your man last week. But that's how it goes.
Man, what have you done for me lately, man? That's the name of the game, man. I'm looking forward to see how he plays too. The only problem with a quarterback like that is like if you root for the Eagles and you're watching the game, anytime he gets sacked, you're gonna be like, uh-oh. You know what I'm saying? When you got either an older player or someone who has a history of injuries, anytime they fall to the ground, you like, on pins and needles. But like you said, he was the #1 pick in the draft for a reason. He's, a little bit of check down Charlie, but the talent has always been there. Yeah.
As a fan, though, Jim, you will be tense, but you do want to see him take that smack. just to see if he gonna get up. Like it's kind of like, all right, man, just hit him, get it over with. Because I don't, you don't want him to go out there and he's just rolling for a few weeks and been clean, untouched, and then something happens. Get hit early. Let me see what your leg can do early.
And with that being said,
I think it's a great comparison because from an arm talent standpoint and accuracy, I've always thought that Bradford has it. I think that he's an elite level talent with what he can do with the football. I think that where he was, first and foremost is the injuries. I mean, he's missed the glass. So we may never see all of this talent that I'm talking about I see come to manifest itself. We may never see that. But given the right weapons, my man is very accurate and he's got a very live arm and he's kind of intelligent. So I'm allowing myself to get a little bit optimistic and excited. I like the comparison.
Well, I just want to shout out. I just want to shout out Aaron Rodgers for becoming like the measuring stick of great quarterback.
A granddad.
Yeah,
he's the bar.
Yeah,
I got some more quotes.
That's his new nickname, Aaron Rodgers, aka the bar.
I got some more quotes from Peters and Johnson because they sound like Peters and Johnson. That sound like a law firm that Colot, Peters and Johnson. But Peter said it's effortless. I mean, it shoots out of his hand like a cannon. The guy has an arm, man. We just got to keep him clean, and good things are going to happen this year. Then he went on to say, you'd have to compare the release to somebody like Aaron Rodgers' release. The quickness, the decisiveness, that's what I see. I played with Rodgers in the Pro Bowl. The quickness of him getting rid of the ball, that's what I see. And then after they said all this on the interview, I heard this in the background.
The royal penis is clean, Your Highness.
So they better keep them clean because if they're not up there blocking, like B. Austin said, you may never get to see all of this talent that everybody's raving about manifest itself because they said he's killing it in camp right now. Took off the brace. He's feeling good. I think he took that off a little too quick, but
they did say that there's a 15% chance that he does the same thing to his knee that he always does to his knee, and that made me highly uncomfortable. We all know I'm a Foles supporter. God bless that young man. I hope he passes for 60,000 yards in his career and does very well. But I'm excited by what could be, but the Eagles fan in me, the worst. Murphy's Law always manifests itself with my fandom and the teams that I root for. So, he has to get injured. Like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Can he bounce back?
That's like very sad, man.
He's saying it's 100%. Like, he's done.
No. It is. No, it's 100%. Now, see, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. No, Jimmy, let me explain something, though. We signed Tebus. So if Tebus is praying over his knee, and using the prayer oils and prostrating himself, then hopefully Bradford's only out for 2 games. Prayer changes things. So hopefully he's only out for 2 games. If I can get 14 good games out of Bradford, I'm happy. I'm good.
Tebow want to be a quarterback like very bad. He might be praying that the ball get hurt.
That's not in his nature. Don't disrespect, disrespect a good Christian.
I just want to say shout out to his offensive lineman for bigging him up, but Peters and Johnson definitely sounds like an establishment in Chinatown I may or may not have visited before. But with that being said, man, did any of you guys see the Hard Knocks episode?
And there's jizz everywhere.
Did any of you guys see the first episode of Hard Knocks? Because I know I watched it.
I did not. I know you said that you were watching it, so I was going to lean on you for this segment.
I should just call this the JJ Watt TV show because that's pretty much what it is. They spent a lot of time
kind of like what else were we expecting?
Yeah, pretty much. And B. Austin, I know you saw parts of it because we were talking today about one part of it that's particularly interesting.
I saw your man D'Angelo Hall
about one particular
get his leg destroyed. I saw that.
Yeah. That's all I saw. I haven't really watched it. I just saw that when they scrimmaged the Washington professional football team, And there's one particular loudmouth, overrated corner that I don't dislike, but he gets the rapping, and it doesn't end well for him when he's
not overrated. He's not overrated.
You're right.
He's the only one
probably
who
not rated.
And that's the thing. Like, he's never been, in my opinion, D'Angelo Hall has never been a terrible cornerback. But the fact that since he stepped into the league, he walks around and acts like he's Deion Sanders, like, it makes his flaws stand out, that much more.
Speaking of that name, did you even peep that your man D'Angelo has a practice jersey number 2? That's not the jersey he wears on game day.
I thought that looked a little strange when I was watching that exchange.
But you know who does it? You know who wore number 2 in practice?
Deion wore number 2 in practice. I thought he thinks he's Deion. He thinks he's the second coming, and nobody's told him anything different yet. So I don't know. I mean, I think for the money, because he re-signed, took a big pay cut from his last contract. For the money, I think, it's still a good signing by the Redskins, if he ends up staying with the team this season. I think it's good for them, and I didn't mean to say that. Washington professional football team. But yeah, he just has to pipe down a little bit, because he had the exchange on the sideline with Hopkins and then got his leg destroyed, on a route later on in practice. So you keep pipe down a little bit.
Yeah, it was funny because, like, we all know that for those that do watch reality TV, the editors, the heroes in all reality TV. So I don't know how it could have been edited a certain way, but he didn't come off nice at all. Because he's the one that started that. Like Hopkins put a move on one of his teammates, and he said, "Try that on me," and XYZ, and try to push him. And Hopkins was like, "Yo, don't put your hands on me. We can box."
Yo. Hopkins, let me tell you something, that young boy put something evil on D'Angelo Hall with a deep comeback, and when he broke, D'Angelo's leg, his foot, and the rest of his body went in 2 different directions. I'm glad that the injury isn't worse than it is. Then D'Angelo Hall goes on Twitter and proceeds to say, man, it's a sad day in football when your biggest highlight is something going on in practice. And then my man Hopkins tweeted back, "How's the training table? How's rehab going?"
Yeah, it's kind of crazy though that D'Angelo Hall would start that Twitter beef, after all of that. So it's like it seems like you're kind of sore losing at this point. Just let it go.
Absolutely.
Just let it go.
Absolutely. That's the generation. I thought that Hopkins was pretty classy in his response, because he didn't go into engaging D'Angelo Hall with any back and forth. He just dropped a quick one-liner and was out of there.
Yeah, this is what we live in. Social is what it is. But in terms of the overall show, it was interesting, man. HBO has a unique way of showing the game, and it makes you root for guys that you'll never root for. I just gotta stay focused when it comes to fantasy football and not pick guys from Hard Knocks, because I always fall into that trap. You start rooting for certain guys because you know their backstory. But I was wondering coming into this what would be interesting about the Texans, and I knew J.J. Watt was a superstar, but oh man, I didn't realize the extent of what kind of superstar. J.J. Watt is really one of the most popular guys in the entire league at this point.
He's not human, but he's not human though, because he backs all.
He's definitely a talent. His talent is
out of control,
belief. He plays football like someone created by Stan Lee from Marvel. He's that guy, but his popularity is crazy, man. And, but that's either here nor there. But I enjoyed the first episode, so we'll see what happens in the second one.
I read an article that was telling us, kind of the things to watch out for on Hard Knocks this season. And of course, the up close with J.J. Watt was the number one thing. Arian Foster having another setback. God doesn't like his groins, probably because he doesn't believe in the afterlife. The QB battle between Mallett and Hoyer, Jadeveon Clowney and his return. He had something happen in his family recently with his dad, so I don't know how that's going to affect him. But, there was a few things. And, of course, like Jimmy said, HBO does such a great job. If you were not interested in any of these things prior to the onset of Hard Knocks, like once you start watching it and you get engrossed in it, then none of that even matters. So because it's so well done. So I'm looking forward to catching that first episode, and then staying on pace through the rest of the preseason. All right, so I'll take a quick break just to let you guys know what the deal is and how you can get in touch with us. And on the other side of that, we'll be talking to Kevin Blackistone. So you guys know the drill. You can check out our website at warroomsports.com. Call in and speak with us about any of today's topics. Dial the Digital Extreme Tech hotline. That number is 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. But if you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to talk.
Hi, Peter King with the MMQB here, and you're listening to The War Room at the War Room Sports Podcast Network.
All right, so we have on the line with us, you guys know him, of course, from Around the Horn. He's one of the talking heads on Around the Horn, one of my favorites, actually. He's a professor at the University of Maryland, and he's a columnist with the Washington Post. Kevin Blackistone. Kev, you are in the War Room. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for the invite. I'm glad we could finally do this.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
Absolutely.
Thank you for setting aside some time to come and do it with us. We've been looking forward to speaking with you about a lot of these topics, but it goes so fast that a lot of new stuff came up, and we want to get your thoughts on some of it. So we'll definitely get right into it. We were actually talking earlier about the whole situation that went down in the Jets locker room earlier this week. What are your thoughts on that situation? And do you think the perceived respect level or lack thereof for Geno Smith in that locker room have a direct correlation to his play on the field? Because this doesn't seem like a situation that would happen with any quarterback that's quote unquote worth their salt. Like, it just doesn't seem like this type of stuff would happen.
You don't see that happening in Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, any leaders like that. I think maybe what it's more of a problem, more of a reflection of, is the fact that there is no leadership with the Jets. And anybody who thought that the circus left town with Rex picked up the latest high wire act from the Jets is reminded that what troubles the Jets goes far deeper than just the coach. So it's just a team with no leadership at all. I feel bad for Geno Smith because a lot of people had chattered in the off season and in training camp that he was starting to look better. He looked like he might be the guy that showed some flashes during his rookie year, and not that disastrous season that he just came off of. And now it's a huge setback for him. Not only because he can't play, but just because of what you all said. Now people are questioning his his ability to be a leader of the team. So it's bad all the way around. And if you're a Jets fan, you just got to be you just got to be shaking your head, going, what's going to happen next? As far as the perpetrator, now if it is true that he was responding to Geno having his finger in his face, I think all of us can relate to that anger. Right? I mean, there's certain things that if a man does to you that just don't go over well, and putting his finger in your face is one of them. But having said that, this is also a guy that is very fortunate because obviously he has one mark against him from college, and although it looked like he was out of $500,000 making the team on this contract, he did get a lifesaver tossed to him by Rex. So it's just a bad deal all the way around. But it just shows you how dysfunctional the Jets are.
So does this say to you that Rex doesn't really like Geno Smith, or is he just trolling the whole organization as a whole?
I think it might be that he just doesn't like. Maybe you could read into it. He doesn't much care for Geno Smith. I mean, Rex got a pretty good run with the Jets, and the Jets for the first couple years, got an amazingly good run with Rex, and then it just started to unravel. Never really had a quarterback. When you finally had to rely on one, it wasn't happening. you know, lacking a running game. I mean, it started lacking a whole lot of things, and you get the impression that Rex is one of these kind of guys who can come into a locker room, talk real good, rally guys around him, and then after a while, you know, his words kind of start to fall on deaf ears, and there are no wins on the wall, so it becomes time for him to go, and I suspect that's going to be the same kind of thing that happens in Buffalo.
He lost the attention of the locker room. Professor
Right.
Kev, man, we're glad to have you. This is B. Austin. We know you've been outspoken in the past about issues of race in sports and in the nation in general. I mean, from your perspective, is there any merit in the implications that Chip Kelly may be employing racist methodology in his personnel decisions? We got to go in a little different direction, so we're going to the NFC East right now. What are your thoughts on Chip Kelly?
Well, you know, I don't like to throw around the word racist, just because once you do that, you immediately take the conversation in a direction that is not about the message, but about the messenger. So, you know, I'll just say this. You know, it's rare that you hear an athlete of LeSean McCoy's stature come out and make the allegations they did against Chip Kelly. But it and Chip Kelly's roster doesn't necessarily support that when you look at the people they brought in, even versus the people that they've lost. I mean, they brought in people of color, they lost people of color. It's gone both ways. But it's just kind of weird that McCoy, who's been quiet most of his career, would say that. You know, it's weird that they had the whole Riley Cooper situation. It's weird that they had that weird deal where Riley Cooper was on the Black History Month calendar. You remember that?
They botched that
right,
one.
right.
They botched that
and
one.
then exactly, and then you know, and then it's just kind of weird that they got rid of Deshaun Jackson like they did.
So you're saying too many coincidences.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not saying, you know, I never heard this about Chip Kelly before. But sometimes there's things that line up and give people ammunition, or that's the ammunition that people can use to say those kind of things, and you know, and he's having to refute it.
Professor,
I would say
I'd like to submit this notion. Hold on, real quick, Devin. I don't think that it's necessarily that Chip is racist. I think you're dealing with African American male athletes who have grown in a position of stature where they're in the media, they're in the public eye, and they represent, like it, whether it's true or not, but some of the best and brightest as black men. And we know what the media does to black men. And so I think that could there be some social sensitivity on the part of Chip Kelly and the Eagles organization, seeing that the NFL is 78% African American? Sure. Maybe there does need to be a little bit more sensitivity to where these gentlemen are coming from, their background, and what the implications of who they are is to the larger expanse of America. So you could pick and kind of look at, you know, it's the old question of, are white people sensitive to what black people go through? And I think that's what's kind of showing up here. Sorry about that, Deb. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I was going along the same lines. Like for me, because you look at the people that he's gotten rid of, and LeSean McCoy, I mean, he's a little brash. He's never done anything detrimental to the organization. We've heard stories about Deshaun Jackson, even Evan Mathis. He was an outspoken guy, and he's not even black. I think Chip Kelly just wants those. He's used to that college atmosphere where he's the boss. What he says goes. He doesn't want anybody that's going to do anything their own way. Deshaun Jackson does something his own way. LeSean McCoy is a great player, but you know, his running style, he does things his own way when a coach might want something else. So what I've been telling people is I don't know Chip Kelly. So behind closed doors, Chip Kelly could be the grandmaster of the clan, but for the reasons that they're pointing out that he may be like, I can't really get behind that. But, you know, I don't know what he does in his personal life. It could be 100% true. But their reasoning to me, they kind of need a little bit more if you're going to throw somebody's name in dirt like that. But
yeah, like I said, I've never heard that about him, but there are some times where things line up and you start to wonder maybe about the culture of an organization. Now, I'll tell you this. Now, I had more questions about Mike Shanahan when he was in Washington than I do about Chip Kelly in Philadelphia. Mike Shanahan went out of his way. Yeah, I mean, he went out of his way to emasculate Albert Haynesworth. Say what you want to about Albert Haynesworth, but that was an emasculation. And then he went out of his way to question the intelligence of Donovan McNabb. And then the way he talked about sometimes and handled RG3 also made me wonder. And so I have more questions about the way he dealt with young black men really than the way that Chip Kelly has dealt with young black men.
Yeah, good point.
That makes sense.
Professor Blackistone, I had a couple questions for you. One is not even really sports related, but I read that you covered Nelson Mandela's U.S. tour back in 1990. So I was just trying to get an idea of what that was like and what you remember about that.
Oh man, it was great. That was the last thing I did before I switched over to sports. It was tiring because if you'll recall, he was in one city after another city, day after day after day. And I covered half of it, and a friend of mine, one of my best friends, Kevin Merida, who is now managing editor of the Washington Post, he covered the other half. And what I remember is just the hordes of people that turned out to see this man who, up until then had not existed in a real life form for us. You know what I mean? I mean, we had seen him on like microfiche film, and we saw him get released. But to see him actually in the flesh was just amazing, and just the love and respect that people had for him everywhere he went. I remember, I think the most interesting visit that he made, at least for me, was in Atlanta, and obviously because it's one of the, because of MLK, it's one of the cradles of the civil rights movement. And I actually spent that day. He spoke at he was doing Stadia, and so he spoke that day at Georgia Tech's stadium, Bobby Dodd Stadium, I think that's what it is. But rather than go there, I had an in to H. Rap Brown, and by this time H. Rap Brown had become a Muslim, and he was running a small grocery store in a black neighborhood, and so through a guy that I knew, he invited me over to watch the speech and everything with him. So we sat in the back of his little grocery store and watched it on this little black and white TV, and he talked about the civil rights movement, he talked about the revolutionary black movement, SNCC, and kind of the bridge to where Atlanta was and America was then, by watching Nelson Mandela address the world from Atlanta. So that was pretty, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, and and
I just wanted to ask you that question because I read that about you, and I said that man had to be an amazing experience.
Oh yeah. And then in 2010, I was covering the World Cup in South Africa, so I actually got to go to Robben Island. Well, not got to go, but I made a point when I was there. I was going to go to Robben Island, and I happened to have one of my best friends, who's a filmmaker, had done a film about some guys that were in prison in Robben Island, and so I hooked up with them, and they gave me a tour of the place and talked about the struggle and talked about how soccer kind of united everybody on the who was in prison there, and so that was great too. And then I got to see Nelson Mandela at I can't remember. I don't think he didn't make the opening ceremony, but I think he made the closing ceremony. I can't remember. So I think on the eve of the opening ceremony, one of his grandkids was tragically killed in like an accident or something, and so some of the family didn't make it. But just going from haven't seen him here in the U.S. upon his liberation, and then going to his liberated country and seeing it for the first time. Those are two great bookends for me.
Yeah. Thanks for that. I just wanted to, get that information because I read that and asked that question. But I have a back to sports though. I'd have another question for you because we understand that you're a native of Washington D.C. and have great ties with the local teams. And I want to talk about RG3. Is this like a do-or-die season for him as an NFL starter or just with the Redskins? What do you think about RG3 in this upcoming season?
Oh, I think it is do or die. I mean, I think it's do or die within the season. You know what I mean? I think if he, I'm certain, barring injury, but he has plenty of those, he'll start. But if the offense is not productive, I would be shocked if they didn't take the playbook away from him. I mean, look, we've never seen, and most of the NFL has never seen the rookie season like he had. I was at the game as a fan when they played the Vikings. And I jumped out of my seat when he made that 70-yard run down the sidelines. I mean, that was the most exciting thing I've seen, out of FedEx, I think, ever. But man, that's like ancient history. I mean, it has been disastrous since then. And we all know that he is not he can't be the athletic marvel that he was coming into the league, which made him the special quarterback that he was, even though he tried to play that down. Now he's going to have to try and be a more normalized version of an NFL quarterback, and he really has not shown much ability to do that. So, unless he makes he's going to have to make some leaps and bounds this training camp and this and early on in this season to convince anybody that he's the guy going ahead. I mean, I just I don't know any other way to look at it. But the numbers speak for themselves.
If he doesn't fare well in Washington this season, and they part ways with him, do you think he's pretty much done as a starter in the NFL, or do you think he'll get another shot at that?
I think he would get another shot. I mean, I don't think anybody would bring him in and just stick him under center. But
competition type thing.
I'm sure there's somebody out there that's going to look at it and say, "Wait a second, I can fix this." There was too much. They're going to look at that rookie season and say, "There's too much there. I can fix this. I can put better people around him. I can build a system in which he can fare better." He will now be humbled through being humiliated, and maybe he'll be more open to listen and to change and to seek help.
I think they hit a lot.
Yeah, he won't be. He's not going to be
season now. I think they hit a lot during that rookie season because when you think back to it, it was definitely exciting, from a fan standpoint. And to see a quarterback with world-class speed do some of the things he did out on the edges, that was amazing. But in the passing game, I think his completion percentage might have been a little blown up because of the type of routes that they ran. Like they threw a lot of stuff at the line of scrimmage, 2 yards in front of the line of scrimmage. You didn't see it in his averages, of course, because people got yards after the catch. And then with the whole read option and everything, they would lull you to sleep with the short passes and the read option, and then hit you deep, to wide open receivers.
Play action.
So everything was clicking. But
it was good. But you know what? He wasn't missing those long passes, and he isn't hitting those now. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with a short passing game unless it's like Mark Brunell's short passing game. That went nowhere. Tom Brady's short passing game puts sevens on the board. So, and then they kind of had the ability to do that. So, it's going to take a huge effort on both sides, the coaching side and the player side, to get him anywhere near where he was as a rookie. And he doesn't have to be. I mean, we're not expecting anybody to be. What was his touchdown interception ratio? I mean, it was something ridiculous. 20
it was ridiculous. And he was throwing like 70% completion damn near.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah. And I agree with you. Short passing games can definitely work. But when, because the read option was the big thing in the league that year, and we all know defensive coordinators, eventually they're going to catch up to stuff. So that year, too, he already was behind the 8 ball coming into it injured, but he had to be a little bit more of a normalized passer that year as well because, defense is kind of caught up to the read option and the fact that a lot of teams were just willing to hit quarterback whether he had the ball or not because it was legal.
Right.
So, some of the stuff that he didn't get to show, like the mid-range accuracy and leading receivers, he didn't get to show a lot of that his rookie year, and it didn't go so well his second year. But, I mean, yeah, we'll see how it goes. B. Austin, you had something before we move on?
No, I was actually going to ask how much, in terms of ultimate success, how much and lack thereof in the case of RG3, how much of it is on him working and getting into the minutia of the game, how much of it is on, the coaching staff and Jay Gruden actually giving him a chance, how much of it is him having to rehab, when typically OTAs allow you to get in the playbook and focus on technique, focus on growing. How much of that is balanced out? Where's the culpability lie on where RG3's career is right now?
Well, I mean, I think for him, the biggest part is health. I mean, he's got to be healthy and he's got to remain healthy. I mean, it's injuries. Injuries are what derailed him. So we absolutely know that. Now, after that, it's tough because you got a first-time head coach, and he's on a learning curve too. And you've got a quarterback who is continually on the learning curve because he can't be what he came in the league as. So now he's got to learn to be this other thing. And now not only does he have to learn to be this other thing, he also has to learn to be this other thing within a new system. That's not easy either. So, to me, the most important thing is that he's got to be healthy. He's got to be healthy. You all said it before. He doesn't have to run with the wind anymore. But he's got to be able to be mobile in the pocket. He's got to be able to turn. He doesn't have to turn nothing into a touchdown now, but he still needs to be able to turn nothing into a first down. And we just haven't seen much of that.
Chains.
Yeah, you got to move those chains, and they got to find, a system to fit him. They've got to find a way to make him legitimate again.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting.
I just want to tell you real quick. We have somebody in our chat room, Leroy McConnell. He says he misses you, and you should come back to the Dallas Morning News.
We got a Texas resident.
Oh man, talk about the real window. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, good luck with Gus Johnson.
Let's switch gears again. Because I know you were all over this Floyd Ronda Rousey thing. Ronda Rousey is saying she could beat Floyd in the no rules match. Right. We have social media platforms, and we've actually had some people who are starting to get on that bandwagon saying that they think Rousey could beat Floyd if they were fighting in an MMA style match. What are your thoughts on this whole thing? Ronda saying that she could beat Floyd.
Yeah, I just wrote a column for the Washington Post for that. I guess it'll be up sometime tomorrow. But I just don't like the entire idea. Let's remove from the conversation right now whether or not she can beat him. I mean, in the last year or so, we've been focused in this country on domestic violence. And this isn't domestic. This would not be domestic violence, right? But this would be a man versus a woman in a sanctioned boxing, in a sanctioned fighting match. I can't, to commodify that for entertainment purposes, to me, is just not a good thing to do. And if we're going to praise sports for affecting change any manner of things. You know, we need to understand that sports can also do those kinds of things negatively. And I don't think that it's a good idea for sports to somehow valorize a woman fighting a man for $59.95 on your pay-per-view. I just think it's a bad idea. And if I'm Floyd Mayweather, I run from this faster than I can run from anything. I mean, you just
that's what I was about to say. How ironic would that be? Floyd of all people.
Exactly.
Floyd is the wrong guy to even get in this dialogue with.
Exactly. I mean, if he and his handlers were smart, they would quickly turn this to his advantage and say, you know what? I've been through this. I'm trying to shed this image. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to treat women with more respect. This isn't something I want to be involved in. I'm learning to be a better man. And that's what he should say.
Professor Kev, you said a mouthful right there. If he were smart, and I don't know that his handlers aren't. I'd like to give Al Heyman and Leonard Ellerbe at least the benefit of being really high quality businessmen, but actually those that deal with Floyd and his mouth and his media presence and savvy, I don't know that they're giving him the right advice, nor if they are, is he taking it, because he should be running, as you said, he should be running from this. He should definitely be running from it.
And I would be more comfortable telling him that than telling Ronda Rousey not to do this, because I don't want to be paternalistic. Yeah, she has nothing to lose, and I don't want to be paternalistic and tell a woman that this is something that she shouldn't do or can't do. So I understand that, but the only other thing my other criticism of her would be that I'm really tired of women comparing themselves to men or trying to compete with men in order to verify their own bona fides. You know what I mean? I mean, she's an Olympic medal winner. I mean, she's got this unbelievable record in MMA, which I'm not a great fan of. She's garnered the endorsements. She got her ESPY award. I mean, she is validated in her own merit. She doesn't need to be in the ring with a man. She doesn't need to be compared to a man in order for us to give her due. And
if I was speaking to Rousey and I entertain this, if I decided to entertain this for 1 second, I just have 3 words for her: grown man strength, and then I would just leave it alone.
I mean,
it looks easy because you might be as big as him, but it's different.
Yeah, I mean, it's just and that's the other thing. Everybody's into analytics now. Well, look at domestic violence analytics. It generally does not end very well for women in fights with men.
Professor Kev,
size, speed, whatever you want to. Yeah, I mean, and it's like people were talking about Hope Solo and Ray Rice comparison, and how the U.S. soccer was dealing with her as opposed to how the NFL and the Ravens dealt with Ray Rice, and people were bringing up the gender issue. And I thought Ta-Nehisi Coates made a very valid point. He said the historical difference in lethality of a man hitting a woman and a woman hitting a man is so stark that this is an apple. This is basically an apple and a kumquat. I mean, it's not the same conversation. So I think this is one of these things that shouldn't happen. It's happened before, by the way. It would not be a first. But the other thing that happened was not, was fortunate.
Professor Kev, I just like the way where you started it is where we got to end this, which is domestic violence, men on women, women on men. We need to leave it alone. This is an ugly direction to go in socially, let alone with just sports for entertainment. Before we get you out of here, we wanted to get your thoughts on activism in sports. With the 1-year anniversary protests going on in Ferguson and the ongoing injustices against Black people, Black men and Black women that pop up in the news cycle daily. Do you think athletes could or should be doing more to use their platform to speak out for change? Or should they just mind their damn business and protect their brain?
You know what the thing is? I don't think any of us should mind our own business, right? No matter what our station in life, no matter what we do for a living, none of us should mind our business. This is all our business. And so I don't really make any demands of athletes that I wouldn't make of anyone else, right? I mean, when they speak out, and they speak out on the side of something that I would speak out on, I say I want to hear more. And for those who, for whatever reasons, feel uncomfortable or unable or whatever, not to speak out, I wish that they would educate themselves, and I wish that they would coalesce around something. But if they don't, I mean, that's fine too. But I'm for everybody to be an activist. Athlete, plumber, teacher, doctor, lawyer, podcast host. You know what I mean? Everybody needs to speak. We live in a democracy. We are all allowed to speak out. That's why I love when who was it at Maryland last year before the basketball game, the wide receiver, I think it was Deion Long, and he stood outside the Xfinity Center with a sign that said something, something like, "Will you call us thugs?" When you're watching us, when you're paying to watch us on TV or something like that. And did you see the thing from Howard University? Did y'all see that picture?
Oh yeah.
Howard University Medical. I mean, you know what I mean? Everybody speak out.
Alma mater.
There you go. That was strong. I'm like, everybody speak out. And and I think, and I praise somebody like LeBron James, because LeBron James has slowly but surely educated himself on a variety of issues, and has been outspoken on them. And even on things where he hasn't been outspoken on, he's done things which, to me, have a nationalistic flair to him. Like employing young brothers to run his business enterprise. And not just going to the white lawyer or white agent, right? Having an understanding about what it would mean for him to go back to Northeast Ohio and the kinds of things that he could do there. Bringing back computer equipment for school kids up there, because he understands the importance of retooling human capital for the digital age. So, there are a lot of things that go on like that. But I really love the fact that, guys are not afraid, that there are guys who are not afraid. They speak their mind.
Wow. I think I can speak for everybody here at War Room Sports that we wholeheartedly agree. Got a voice, cool. Speak out, use it. Use it.
Yep.
Gotta use it. We definitely will be using the small voices that we have. Before you go, just let everybody in the audience know, where they can find you. This is an internet world now, where they can find you online, where they can read that Rousey Mayweather article. Do your commercial.
Yeah. I my Twitter is at Prof Blackistone. And the Prof thing I really use just because there is a Kevin Blackistone in Baltimore who's a graphic artist who beat me to that. So I just use the Prof thing because, well, I do that too. So I'm not that much in honorifics, but it works. And then I write a column for the Washington Post like every week or two. So you can find me at Post Sports. That's the Twitter handle there. And obviously Around the Horn a couple times a week, having fun with the guys and ladies on there. So who knows where else you'll find me? But if there's a media outlet,
Well, that when that article comes out, we'll definitely post it to all of our social media platforms as well, and let everybody take a look at it. We appreciate your time. You gave us actually some extra time. So
thanks for doing good work, and I was impressed when I met y'all up at Blogs with Balls up in Chicago, and hope to see you.
Shout out to Don Povia.
Yeah, Don Povia, absolutely love the stuff they do.
All right. So, yeah, we love to have you back at any time. So, we'll keep in touch.
Do it.
Thank you.
Now.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Later.
All right. All right. That's Kevin Blackistone, everybody. Like you said, Washington Post. Check out that article tomorrow morning about Ronda Rousey and Floyd Mayweather. Check him out on Around the Horn. And he is a University of Maryland professor. So he does that, like you said. All right. So let's get back into, we got some hot topics, but did you want to finish off anything from that football topic we were talking about? I know we had a we had a HOF. Really, I think I want to wait on that, man, because I'm still on the fence.
Yeah, we can wait on that. Yeah, we can wait on that. But the one story I did want to bring up, that Tom Brady was in the courtroom the other day, right? So I don't know whether you guys saw the sketch of Tom Brady.
I saw the sketch and a million memes about it.
Yo, the sketch looked nothing like Brady. But here's what I want to find interesting. When you talk about fans taking things too far, the courtroom sketch artist, her name is Jane Rosenberg. Yeah. She says she's received emails and death threats about her sketch.
Damn.
From Patriot fans.
Yo, that John is ugly though.
Yeah,
hold on though. Like the fans, the Patriots fans found her contact info and have been sending her threats. As well as hate, all kinds of, but her life is being threatened because of her sketch. So I just want to know, what's up with these fans, man?
That's too much, man. Like fans get way too involved in stuff. You shouldn't be getting death threats because of a bad drawing. It was a bad drawing, man. That looks nothing like Tom Brady.
Oh, it was terrible.
Unless he got beat up before court that morning, but I saw live photos of him in court. Yeah, because she does this for a living. Like her sketch game is on point usually. Like, what was that? Like,
that was intentional. She was trolling, but now she's getting the death.
She a Dolphins fan.
These fans are out of control, man. But anyway, man, let's jump into some hot topics. And those hot topics are brought to you by Audible. If your schedule is too hectic to read as much as you want, try audiobooks, and you can do by getting a free audiobook by going to trial.com/warroomsports. In no time, you get a free audiobook. You can try out the service. You don't have to stay, but remember, it's absolutely free. FREE, audibletrial.com/warroomsports. About to give me 2 new credits on the 15th, and there's a lot of great books. I'm still reading people's seats because the book is long as everything. But with that being said, get the free book on us. Let's talk about some hot topics before we get out of here, gentlemen. So, Dev, take it away, good brother.
All right. So we of course we got hot topics like we always do. Floyd Mayweather. We already, briefly discussed the Floyd and Rousey thing, but Floyd Mayweather went on to, I really don't remember what it was. I want to say it was ESPN Deportes because everybody was speaking Spanish. If it's not that, excuse me for lumping every Spanish
Sports Nation
person.
Sports Nation.
No, but that was like Sports Nation.
Yeah, they were speaking Spanish though. That had to be like
Sports Nation Deportes.
Sports Nation Deportes. You stupid. So anyway, we're asking Floyd Mayweather to put his top 5 dead or alive boxers on the board. Of course, Floyd was going to put Floyd Mayweather at number 1. But the thing that made the story and what everybody ran with afterwards is the fact that, okay, we know Floyd is brash enough to put himself number 1. He's been saying he's the best ever all along. But he didn't put Muhammad Ali at number 2. So the world is basically flipped on his head about that. Let me give you his order in the top 5. He did put Muhammad Ali in the top 5, but we'll talk about this in a minute because from my perspective, I still think he just did that out of pressure. I don't think he has the amount of respect for Muhammad Ali that people would like him to have. But, to each his own. Your opinion is your opinion. But I still think putting him at 5, I think he forced that. So number 1, he had himself, Floyd Mayweather. Number 2, he had Julio Cesar Chavez, which, Cesar Chavez probably should be in anybody's top 5 dead or alive. Like, dude was a beast. Number 3, he had Sweet Pea, Pernell Whitaker. Number 4, he had Roberto Duran. And number 5, he had Muhammad Ali. And this is what I'm reading right now. I thought maybe did he switch some later in the video? Because I watched the video and I actually thought he had Roberto Duran at number 2. So I'm not sure. Maybe he switched it at the last minute. Either way, these are his top 5, even if it's not in the order that I read it. But Muhammad Ali is definitely 5. Floyd Mayweather was definitely number 1. Those other ones might be a question between Duran and Chavez. But what do you guys think of his top 5? What do you think of Muhammad Ali being at number 5? And like me, do you think by watching that video, do you think it was kind of forced because he saw their reaction and he knows what everybody else's reaction is going to be? You think it was forced that he even put Ali in his top 5?
I definitely think that it was forced because Floyd is a person that seeks the approval of the masses and not necessarily them liking him. He's not a LeBron guy where you got to like him, but he wants to be respected and appreciated as the greatest of all time based on his ability to go 48-0 by picking and choosing his opponents. So for him, that means the rivals at the very top, generally speaking, there are exceptions, but generally speaking, that means Muhammad Ali, Jack Johnson, and Joe Louis. Those are the guys that everybody puts at the top of that pile. And him putting Muhammad Ali at 5 is telling you something. That's conveying something. And Floyd I've never really seen him articulate why Muhammad Ali is at 5 with any semblance of respect or reverence to him. Not to say that you have to have reverence for another man. I'm not saying that. But his manner of articulating where he puts Muhammad Ali and why, to me, has never been one of any level of respect, really. He doesn't appreciate the fact that the masses rank Muhammad Ali over him, and he has the biggest problem with him.
Well, you know what the problem he had, because you were talking about those 3 guys in that particular division. That's what he kind of laid out. He said Ali did all of this only in only one weight class. And he said he really lost to Ken Norton 3 times. But it seemed like the reason why I said it was forced, because it seems like at the end of the video, he had to remember to say something. I think somebody told him, no matter what you say, you have to say this. And at the end, it was kind of like a light bulb went off his head. He was like, oh, but what he did, why he was so great, he stood for a cause in an era where African-Americans didn't stand up for their people. And it sounded like, that was rehearsed. They were like, Floyd, no matter what you say when you go on this show, you have to at least give him props for that. And it seems like he was reluctantly giving Ali props for something that happened outside of the ring. I mean, because he threw a shot at him saying he basically lost to Ken Norton 3 times. So, Jimmy,
he said he lost to Spinks and Spinks only has 7 fights. Like, my thing is,
but Ali was oldish.
Everything you said,
75 years old when they fought.
Everything you said leading up to that was a bunch of like, you disrespected the man, and as you were putting him 5, you disrespected him. The thing about it is this is how people can't really take him serious in terms of that. Like, if you want to feel like you're the greatest, guess what? You should feel like you're the greatest. I guarantee you, there's guys like who believe they're the greatest who aren't the greatest, but you don't have to like berate someone else or disrespect their career to big yourself up. Michael Jordan believes he's the greatest basketball player to ever live, but he's never dissed any of the guys before. He gives them credit. But the thing about it is he bigs himself up without having to tear someone else down. Like, Michael Jordan will give Magic credit. He'll give Dr. J credit. That came before them, he shows love to while still calling himself the greatest. And it's something to be said for that. You don't have to like talk about the guys who paved the way for you just to big yourself up. You look corny.
Right. Well, I personally
it further makes you feel like he doesn't believe it. You need more people. But go ahead, Dev.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, just to bring a little light to the situation, I personally don't think anybody in his top 5 is the greatest of all time. I think the greatest of all time is this dude.
Hey, boy. After I crucify him, you next.
Who on that list can beat Clubber Lang? Who on that list can beat Clubber Lang? Seriously.
The greatest of all time died on March 9th. But listen, though, I just think that's real corny.
Clubber Lang and in basketball, Jim, Shep, right? Shep and Clubber Lang.
Yeah, Shep. Shep is definitely the GOAT in basketball. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, man, like, if tell a chick, like, I know I'm the best you've ever had, I'm not gonna sit there and disrespect all the dudes before me. I'm just gonna talk about how great I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, There's no sense in.
But no, that makes a lot of sense. You know why? That makes a lot of sense. No, but seriously, it does make a lot of sense not to diss everybody else, because if you're dissing everybody else and then, you know, your argument is that you're the best, you know, of all time, you're basically saying that you're the best of all time in a field that doesn't have a lot of competition. You know, it's like, you know, the house party line. It's like they can easily say this too.
Dr. Bay.
Yeah, so you don't want them to be like, that ain't hard to be in here, but still, you want to give everybody, you know, the utmost respect and all the credit that they deserve, because then if people think that you are the best, you know, there was a lot of competition out there to be the greatest of all time. So it does make you look a little weak if you want to take shots at him. And this is not the first time. Like, he's always talking about, you know, Muhammad Ali, because I think, you know, it grinds his gears a little bit that every time he gets to talking about TBE, everybody's always throwing Muhammad Ali's name in there. So I mean, I can see how
get used to it, man. Like,
there's a reason for that.
It is. Like, I mean, the thing is, why are you so worried? Like, leave it alone, B. Like, because he's coming off real corny. The thing is, I'm a fan of his pugilism. Like, I am, but at the same time, this boy, like, he gets cornier and cornier to me with this nonsense, man. Like, there's no sense in doing that. You throw shots for what? I feel like, and this is another thing. Like, Ali ain't thinking about you, man. Ali on some like Slick Rick stuff, like looking down at you like crumb. You're a crumb.
So, Jim, the fact that he's always, you know, talking about how he's better than Ali and he's actually taking shots at Ali, is that just as annoying as Michael Jordan constantly talking about how he would beat LeBron James one-on-one? Are you tired of that? I know people keep asking him. I know people keep asking him the question. I know that. But does he come off sometime as the angry old man who's salty that his time has passed and somebody else is getting props right now? Like Mike, just say no comment. Like, say stop asking me. I've answered this.
But at the same time, you'll never hear it. Mike has never said he lost in the fight at such time. He doesn't point out all his
he never dissed him. Like, he just said he busted
one-on-one. It's the difference between saying, yo, I'm like, if Floyd was like, yo, I'm better than him, and you start nitpicking like he lost it, he did this, that, and the third, like, man, come on, man. For us to do, not for you, that's for us to do. You're supposed to be one of the greatest ever. You're supposed to let your work speak for itself. You ain't supposed to be out here fighting these battles, man. Like, you're supposed to let us argue about that. The people in the barbershop are supposed to argue about that. But for you to take these shots, it's corny. Have some humility, man.
Yo, lightning is going to strike, because I totally agree. I ain't got no bars, man. Jimmy said it all.
Well, tell me if you got bars about this, be awesome, because actually you gave us the news earlier. Last week, we didn't get around to talking about the $200 million offer that Adidas made to James Harden. All throughout the week, all we heard was Nike wasn't going to match it. You know, they weren't going to try to beat it or whatever. And today, I believe they actually made it official. James Harden will be an Adidas athlete with this $200 million contract. You think the beard is pulling them in like that to justify that type of sneaker contract?
No, I'm happy for him. I'm glad that Adidas gave him that bag. No, they gave him that truck, that Brinks truck. It's $200 million over 13 years. So what is that, about 17 million?
A lot of damn millions.
No, a lot of damn money. I don't know. See, and what you're asking me basically is, all right, right now he's hot, he's relevant. Does he have the staying power to have meaning 7 years from now? We ain't even gonna talk about 13, but 7 years from now,
does he even have the personality to get in commercials and make people buy Adidas for $200 million?
Yeah, he's funny. He is funny, but you're right. You're right. He's not Blake Griffin. Funny and not. Yeah. That's a good point. I think Adidas is tripping a little bit, because I don't see. I'm not even going to go with the charisma thing. I'm going to say right now he can sell shoes. 7 years from now, they're going to regret this.
Actually, I'm reading that it's a 13-year deal though, so it might not be that terrible.
It's $200 million over 13 years, so it's like 17 million a season, I think.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's what you said. My bad. You know, your CTE be rubbing off on the rest sometimes. Yeah, it's interesting to see. I mean, you can kind of understand Nike's position. They just gave Kevin Durant a boatload of money, which means LeBron is going to be at the negotiating table next. So you can't just give out. I mean, Nike has it. You know, I don't want to be a chatty patty counting everybody else's money, but Nike pretty much has it. But you still got to be selective and who you dole that kind of money out to. So, you know, with LeBron's deal on the horizon, I pretty much think, yeah, you can't sign another person in the NBA to another diesel contract like that before you get LeBron re-upped and renegotiated on his next Nike deal. But shout out to the beard. You know, just added something else to his repertoire, to his portfolio. He's getting that money.
He got more than Chloe to take in a couple years.
No doubt. And watch your back, because Lamar Odom might put his hands on both of y'all, but that's another story in general. Speaking of LeBron, since I did bring his name up real quick, did you guys hear that Tristan Thompson is basically threatening to leave the Cavs if he's forced to take a 1-year deal? He's saying that he's going to bounce. Now, this was a guy who earlier we thought that, you know, the Cavs were just going to throw the Brinks truck at, even though we probably didn't think he deserved it. What do you guys think about the Cavs seemingly holding strong on this? Because we thought they had a deal done earlier in the summer, but now, you know, he's asking for a deal at or near the max, which is basically $94 million over 5 years. I always thought that Tristan Thompson was tripping.
They need to be ashamed of themselves for offering him $75 million over 4 years. They looked at the analytics. Here's what happened. They looked at the analytics. They looked at the numbers. As an offensive rebounder, he's way above average. As an overall rebounder, he's good. He's above average, but he's not great. You can find a guy that can rebound like he can. Defensively, he's grossly overrated. People make a big deal about how he shows on the screen and roll, and he can defend on the perimeter. But outside of that, like when he's actually asked to do his job, which is bone up in the post, ain't nobody scared of it. Draymond can get buckets on him, and Draymond ain't got no moves.
So, I mean, Tristan Thompson is the jump hook missinest dude I've ever seen.
Offensively, he is disgusting.
When I hear this story, man, I just feel like this is where our league is at, where he's making threats and they're being taken seriously. Like, yo, who are you to make threats, B? Like, go out there, play your game, let your chicken come when it may, man. Like, but you really need to fall. Yo, he needs to fall back like Jay-Z when he lost the 9 bricks. Like, just fall back, man. Like, yo, you're bugging. Like, who cares that you're making threats?
Jim, he ain't got good credit like Jay, though.
Yo, I know, yeah, he had A1 credit. You know what I'm saying? That was before rap.
Let me tell you guys something. Let me tell you guys something, you know, something that may scare you guys. You know, you as a Sixers fan, and you know, Jimmy is, you know, you're a Lakers fan, but we are, you know, you're a hometown guy. You still root for the Sixers. So let me tell you guys something that will scare you. There are only 2 teams in the league that can offer what he's asking, which would be around $16 million to start. One is the Portland Trailblazers, and one is the Philadelphia 76ers. They're saying neither team are believed to be in talks with Thompson at the moment, but the Sixers can't. The Sixers won't, though, man. They got 3 young bigs that they can build around. If they make an offer for this dude, for this crumb, yeah. So that it sounds a little scary, but I don't think it's possible. I mean, you got 3 young bigs. One of those 3 young bigs are going to be what they were touted to be, or maybe not. I don't know. So. One of them still needs to get surgery, so he might not ever live up to his. So it's kind of up to the one they call Ja right now, because on the other hand, you got Nerlens.
Casey Max said the Mavs in position to offer that bread too.
Well, after getting burned by Jordan, the Mavs can do it, and that could actually help because they have a good enough team where they can add him to the mix, and it would help. Sixers don't.
Yeah, possibly. Well, listen, though,
the Sixers would ask him to score. The Sixers would be like, yo, you
gotta get out of here. On the way out of here, I just want to say, stat of the week: every home team in Major League Baseball went on Tuesday. They went 15-0, and that's the first time ever. So that is the stat of the week. But we definitely have to get out of here. Thanks for joining us in the War Room. Good people. Shout out to everybody in the chat room, Facebook, Twitter, the calls who called in. We couldn't get to you. We apologize. We had a guest, though. And special thanks to that guest, Professor Kevin Blackistone, for joining us. Tune in next week, same time, same place, live right here or on demand on the WRS Podcast Network for more great sports talk. It'll be more NFL preseason, and, you know, somebody will get arrested or something crazy will happen in a wide world of sports. So until the week, and we'll see you right back here. Catch our Twitter at War Room Sports. Read all of our blogs, webcasts, all of our podcasts. Everything can be found at warroomsports.com. Until next time, everybody, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance, and we'll see you chumps on top.
6 to 8. Yeah. War Room Sports. Y'all ready? Let's go. Stay in tune to Jimmy. Know the blueprint. Yo. Every Thursday, 6 to 8, they do this. Shout out to Dev, PJ, B. Austin, Doc Bay on replay. WarRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app. If not, dial 323-140012. They be going and you sensitive, then oh well. Yeah. Physical podcast, let's talk sports. Showtime like magic in the box course. Listen live, push one to join in. Rip your team or listen for your enjoyment. Hip-hop scholars, pit stop for knowledge. Should be in sports credits, I ain't talking college. 5 guys, no beef though. Corporate secret, but the streets know. Belafonte, I got a G flow. KC royalty, I'm in beast mode. 2 hours, get your game up. Who's the best in sportscast? You better name us. War Room Sports. Yeah, you know, Jimmy, Dev, DJ, Jack Beck, B. Austin. I'm Jack. Up and coming on the beat.
War Room Sports. www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.